Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Motor Valley Fest and the presentations by the team from Ferrari. It's a pleasure to be able to share with you the insights, the passion of what Ferrari all stands for. And we'll have a good qualitative hour together. I will be joined in order also by Francesca and then by Gianluca to give you some insights and some personal experiences of what it's like having joined the company and working as an engineer within Ferrari today. Our focus today, of course, is going to be on the people as well as performance, which is the magic duo, the magic couple of working together as a team, driving performance, driving new ideas and innovation across the different parts of the company. So let's go for it. Of course, we could not help ourselves to start with our founder, with Mr. Enzo Ferrari, who founded the company more than 70 years ago in Maranello, where our factory, our head office based today. And as you say by this quote, his focus was not so much on the building the cars and the factory, but above all on the quality of the people, the men and the women that are working in the company at that time and again today. Their competencies, their passion, their interests, their intelligence, be that engineers, sales, marketing, finance, and other areas of the business, they together make the quality of the team, the legacy that has been built by Enzo Ferrari. And as today we're in digital, I wanted to briefly share you the picture also of Maranello, or Maranello downtown as we call it. The view of the factory, you see the wind tunnel at the front, you see the track of Fiorano, the pista of Fiorano at the far end. But above all, this is the vision that our engineers and other staff should have, the vision of the world, to identify where is innovation taking place around the world, where are new exciting technologies are happening, be that in Silicon Valley, be that in Japan, be that in Germany, be that in South Africa or in other parts of the world, and bring that kind of innovation, that know-how, that technicity into Maranello to see if that is suitable to apply into our future vehicles, be that in GT, road car development, or in Formula One, as well as in brand diversification. So therefore, the bird's eye view of Maranello and the factory of the campus of Ferrari. The values in the company are mostly based on these 5 different areas, okay? And we started that before talking about the business units. The emotions are driven by the people, by themselves, by the individuals. It is important to have a passion for the organization that drives out the strongest ideas and developments into the future. And as already said, it is done by both the individual as well as the team together. It's the combination, the yin and yang of the individual competencies and know-how put together in the context of a team that delivers the excellence. You do that with passion and excellence together. Again, the motto of yin and yang is quite fitting. Ferrari is a company with steeped in traditional values. 70 plus years of the company and more than 90 years of racing by Mr. Enzo Ferrari himself. But we combine that tradition together with the innovation today, with the latest technology in our cars and our vehicles, but also in our production areas, our manufacturing areas, our sales, CRM, marketing areas. And last but not least, the 5th pillar in these values is the integrity by each of the individuals, him or her in Ferrari, be that in Maranello at the HQ offices, in the factory and the sales and marketing offices, but also in our 11 different offices around the world. These 5 value elements allows us to be successful and sustainable over the long period. This is a snapshot of the results of the end of last year, 2019. We developed a record number of road cars. As you see, more than 10,000 cars delivered, all built to order. There is no stock, and all the individual cars are built in line with the requirements of our clients. Tailor-made cars for each of our customers, our Ferraristi. We talk about more than 4,000 employees in the company with a significant increase in the number of staff working in Ferrari. That means employment opportunities and development opportunities for our people. And last but not least, 49 different nationalities, 49 different accents across the company, It is the United Nations of Racing within Ferrari. Yes, of course, many of them are Italian and even work in Modenese when it comes to the blue-collar operai factory stuff. But it's important for all of these to integrate well. So, of course, yes, it is important to learn Italian and integrate well, but certainly you do not need to speak fluent Italian before joining a company. We will help you with that with Italian language lessons. And this is where we're based globally around the world. So Ferrari has different offices, 11 different offices around the world, stretching from New Jersey, USA on one side to Japan, Tokyo offices, as well as Sydney, Australia to the other end of the world. You may start your career in Maranello in HQ and developed in line with your skills, including your linguistic, but also your cultural skills to go other places, or to start in your country or language of origin and develop your career opportunity to come into HQ perhaps at a later stage or go to a different country altogether. All these opportunities are based, of course, on your skills, your development, and your geographic opportunity to relocate to all the locations. There's no must in that. We have all the opportunities for each of our different staff. We have a dedicated report, of course, with regards to sustainability, and I will share a few insights with you. From a timing point of view, I recommend you have a look afterwards on the dedicated video of the sustainability report. It's quite exciting, but above all, it's insightful of what Ferrari stands for. Here is an insight of what it's the overview of these topics, okay? Based on 5 key pillars in line with the sustainable growth opportunities and objectives also for the United Nations. So the first element is to exceed expectations, to go beyond, be that in terms of image and brand, customer satisfaction, and of course the responsibility in terms of communication and marketing. Secondly, the focus on best practices. We need to be out there from an ethical business point of view, the relationship in terms of our suppliers, the quality and analysis of risk management in the company, the relationship with our sponsors, not only in Formula One, but across the company. It is to become and to be and remain the employer of choice, the importance of human capital that you've already seen in the introduction with Enzo Ferrari at the very beginning. A key focus on the health and safety of the staff, the right work-life balance for our staff, and of course the focus on inclusion, diversity, and non-discrimination for all the people with the 49 different nationalities working together with us. Third element, the focus on green, okay, the environmental footprint in terms of the emissions and reduction of emissions and the commitments to our environmental impact. And last but not least, it's a focus on the community in Maranello or within the region of Motor Valley. The commitment that we have with educational institutions, with schools, for example, with local schools, with the universities, the partners that we're working with, and to make sure that is part of the ecosystem, therefore exceeding expectations, the governments, the employer of choice, the reduction of the environmental footprint, as well as sharing with the community. And those are the 5 pillars of sustainable strategy within Ferrari. Moving over very briefly on Formula One. Ferrari has one soul, one brand, and 2 different souls, okay? On the GT side, as well as a focus on Formula One racing. You may have seen the presentation by Mattia Binotto yesterday at the festival. We wanted to give you a few insights on that. Okay, racing is in the blood for Ferrari. Whatever we do, be that in GT, specifically in Formula One, but also in brand diversification, the racing passion and commitment to go out there, to succeed, to race and to win is always there. We have a legacy of success of racing on Formula One, racing on track. But of course, we also aiming for the next victory, the next lap ahead with our drivers. And the racing today also from a virtual point of view, not only because of the COVID situation, but we have an esports championship that allows to teach young drivers, but also for Ferraristi owners to enhance their driving skills through simulators And last but not least, to engage with a very, very different audience today. That's in excess of 35 million people that are following esports, where Ferrari is very representative and where we won with Tinozza last year, the driver championship. Moving to GT, Gran Turismo, which is the development, the design, engineering of our road cars, the GT cars, our manufacturing built to order in terms of quality, in terms of processes of these cars, and the sales, after sales and marketing opportunities. Featuring here for you the SF90 Stradale, the first hybrid car in our range. The focus, of course, once again, is around the people, the quality of the working environment, the emissions, the lighting, you can see that here, but it would be even better to see that in person with a factory tour, perhaps together with your professor, with your university, to come and see us in Maranello. The focus is in Maranello. All the production, all the elements that we build are built in Italy, are built in Maranello. The engines, the different components, the chassis, the structures. Our vehicle assembly line is in Maranello. We have two different factories for the V8 as well as the V12 areas together. And again, with the right working conditions for all the staff. The focus on the people. Let me give you a few insights with regards to that. The trio of targets, of course, is to always improve, to work together, and ensure that combine the specific skills for each of the ones that make us together a team, and to allow to say that we are essere Ferrari, being Ferrari together as a team. A few highlights on this. You can read the numbers even quicker than me, but I believe it's important to focus on the training for our staff. We have a dedicated focus on health, be that for our people, our employees with health checkups, but also for the bambini, for the kids of our staff, with an annual health checkup for each of them. So it's a string importance, the health and safety for all of our employees. We have, in consequence, a fantastic rate of presenteeism and therefore very little absenteeism, as you can see here, to make sure that we can develop, we can train and accompany our staff across their professional development, their road, and their satisfaction in terms of working together within the Ferrari team. For that, we have a program built to order for our staff in terms of their company for individual training, for team training, including a master program with the Bologna Business School partnership. A few highlights in terms of successes over the last year, be that in terms of reputation awards, in terms of brand finance, but above all, our presence at university, engineering universities, but also sales, marketing, and business universities to engage with smart people from different areas, from different backgrounds and nationalities to see if they are interested to come and join the team in Maranello and be part of the Ferrari team and legacy. One of the examples is the GT Academy. We will open up the second season from September onwards, and it is an opportunity for engineers, for manufacturing staff, but also people in sales and marketing to join us. And 6 months internship, working with a number of mentors that allow you to grow and to flourish in the working environment and to see if you like that and if you're up to it, if you're ready for it, based on your skills and competencies, also for the long term. And this is what we call the GT Academy. You will see that again in September. Last but not least, it's well been covered in the press, the program called Back on Track, okay, to make sure that within the Ferrari environment, for the staff, but also for the people at home, our families, our suppliers, our distributors, our concessionari, our dealerships, can work, all of them, in the best qualitative environment, making sure that anywhere we are safe to work in the areas that we love to working in and together with our colleagues. We have a dedicated commitment to support the hospitals in Italy, but at the same time, a commitment to make sure that our engines are roaring again, but in the safest kind of environment to make that happen. Last but least, I will introduce you to Francesca. She's working directly as an engineer with vehicle dynamics specifically, and I will switch over the controls over to her. Many thanks for your attention.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Francesca. I work, as Dennis told, on Vehicle Dynamics and Control System Department in Ferrari since 2012. For me, it's a pleasure to be here today, trying to explain you my working experience in Ferrari. But let's start. Sorry, just a second. Okay, let's start with my story. So I had a bachelor degree in mathematics in 2010 at University of Perugia. Right after I moved to Bologna, and I had a master's degree in mathematics for applications. And in 2012, it's the first time that I had some contact with Ferrari because of my thesis work. I developed an algorithm, a control algorithm for a aerodynamic system that was applied on La Ferrari. I keep working with Ferrari, so on the first year, I was in charge to develop and calibrate some control strategies for semi-active suspension and aerodynamic system. Since 2014, due to my role of performance engineer on vehicle dynamics, I'm in charge to optimize the vehicle performance by all components electronic controlled. Today, I'm still working at that group. I'm still working on vehicle dynamics and on control system group, and I'm also the coordinator of that control system group. But what does mean vehicle dynamics for Ferrari? There are a lot of skills for a vehicle dynamics group, especially, sorry. Okay, especially, oops, too much. Okay, especially in terms of methods, because we have to have strong methods that covers every group. We have some vehicle performance group in which the performance engineer is in charge of, sorry, okay, in which vehicle performance engineer is in charge of supervising all the vehicle performance. We have the main expert on energy, so the one in charge of choosing the best configuration in terms of energy of the vehicle. We have guys that are expert on components, so that will choose the best component to reach the performance. We have the application group in which that develop the vehicle since to the production line, and at the end we have the control system group. The control system group is really important because we have a lot of control systems in Ferrari. We have the traction control, the differential, the electronic differential. We have suspension and aerodynamic system. As I told you, are the one with what I started. We have the four-wheel steering. We have the electronic power steering, so the electric system on the steering wheel angle. And we developed two specific functions for that for Ferrari. We have also the newborn RAC-E, that is the new four-wheel driving with electric motors developed on the SF90 Stradale. To develop this control system, we have three main phases. The target set, the first one is the one related to the target set. In that phase, we decide which is the best way, which is the best performance that we can achieve from a component. So it's the phase of the innovation, of the research and development. It's the phase in which we have the new ideas to develop a control system. The second phase is the one of the target deployment. On that phase, we try to make real the ideas that we had on the first one. So we developed softwares and models. We made simulation of vehicle dynamics, of the full vehicle integrated with the control models. And also we size the component in order to achieve the performance that we would like to have. The last one, the last phase is the target achievement. So the one in which we validate everything that we made in a virtual environment before. So we have experimental tests on vehicles and calibrations on real vehicles. To do that, the main activities are related to settings. Sorry, but I have some problem by moving the screen. Okay. The main activities are related to the target and performance settings. We developed the control logic using Simulink models. We made simulation, as I told you before, with the whole vehicle and with the control logic inside loop, but we also made some tests on the dynamic simulator because it's really important also the driver in the loop, so the subjective feeling of the driver also in a virtual environment. We make new specification for components, and at the end we will test on a demo vehicle before and after on the real vehicle all the development made in a virtual environment on the steps before. These are main technical skills required for working on vehicle dynamics group and control system group. But I would like also to leave you the main features of being a Ferrari. So essere Ferrari, what does it mean? First of all, we have a lot of teamwork and we work together daily. We have daily interaction between colleagues, departments, and this is the best way to achieve the best results. We also have an open mind, so we have new ideas, we try, we innovate, and we travel on new roads, but always well-founded to the Ferrari experience and to the Ferrari know-how. That is really, really the right way to do. We are always focused on targets, so we always have a clear goal and give all our best to achieve it since the flag at the end of the race. We also meet daily challenges because it's a very inspiring working environment and it's really challenge, but really also nice to have daily challenge to survive. I had also the chance to travel a lot during my working experience in Ferrari. I also the chance to develop a lot of control systems, a lot of vehicles around the world. And in one of that experience, I had the opportunity to meet Mark Wallen, that is a famous rally driver, and he told me, "Hey Francesca, no try, no win. So guys, this is my advice for you. So be brave, try, and only in that way you can reach your better results." Thank you very much for your attention. I'm at disposal for any questions later. Now I will let Gianluca explain his experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. So let's switch to my presentation. So just a second, I will try to gain the control of the presentation. Okay, so good morning to everybody. As Francesca introduced me, I'm Gianluca Quattromani. I am working inside Ferrari as the head of dynamic simulation. And I would like to introduce you a little bit how is working in Ferrari, what is my experience, my feedback for you. So let me start with my career background and my academic background. So in this slide, you can see a little bit of my track record, and I will start with my bachelor degree. I studied in Università degli Studi di Firenze and obtained my bachelor degree in 2012. Then I decided to move to Milano for my master degree, and I graduated in 2015 there. After my master degree, I decided, yes, maybe I want to do a little bit more of research, so I looked for a PhD. And I found out a PhD in partnership with Ferrari. So I started my PhD in 2015 and finished it in 2018. In the same period, sorry, it's moved one slide. Okay, in the same period, I work as intern in Ferrari, and I concluded my research activity there as an intern in the know-how and simulation department. Then from 2018, I became a powertrain simulation specialist intern for Ferrari, always under know-how and simulation department. And finally, from 2019 up to today, I became dynamic simulation manager. And this is the position that I would like to explain to you. But first of all, before linking what is my responsibility, my task, I would like to introduce you my department to see what we do inside that department. So in the next slide, you see, let me say, the sharing activity that we do for know-how and simulation. We try to cover all the simulation activity to virtual validate our engine before that is even tested. So for example, in this area, we have a lot of groups that are working together for the same. We do have a system dynamics, which is the group that I'm responsible of, but we do also have a turbocharged system where we look at turbos and how they perform. We do also have structural analysis, where with the FEM analysis, we see the integrity of our engine blocks, of our piston, rod, and so on. We do also have energy system. In this particular area, we do look of oil cooling, water cooling, but also the fuel line. And finally, we do have fluid dynamics. This is a really important area because here is where we're looking for power, for hours power. And they are working with 1D models and 3D CFD models to try to obtain the best possible performance for our engine. So what is very important for us is now having a little bit a look about system dynamics. And in particular, I would like to explain what are my tasks that I'm daily facing. So in this slide, this is a quick overview of my task. And I will start with, of course, the simulation activities. As I told you, I have to guarantee during the year that all the simulation activities are going on well, and with the final aim of engine validation, which is a virtual one, of course, in the times that we prospect at the start of the year. Another main task that I have to fulfill is, of course, developing continuously our know-how and methodologies. So, of course, we do have our models, we do have our way to simulate our engines, but each year we have to guarantee that we are at the top of the state of the art. So we are continuously researching and working with the university to guarantee the best of the state of the art inside our methodology. Another task which is really important for me is integration. So it's very important to work together with our suppliers, with our colleagues. So I have to guarantee that all the data that we are exchanging between the different departments are moving correctly. I also take care of giving data to suppliers and receiving by them. And I also manage all the simulation that we are not doing in Ferrari, but in outsourcing with other engineering. Another very important thing that I want to explain you is tutoring. So for example, if you would like in the future to join us, our family, and you will be able to work with me, we start off, of course, the first period with a tutoring system. So we work together. I try to explain you what are the main tasks that you are supposed to do, to the colleagues that you are expecting to speak with to obtain some data. And I also will take care of your difficulties in the first moments. And this is the part of tutoring. It, let me say, it's long about 2-3 months. And in 1 year, you are more or less ready to be a total independent Ferrari employee. Another thing that I'm take care is problem solving. So for example, if we do have to face some problems, some anomalies of our engine, we take care about them. We try to analyze what is the problem, put on the table the main ideas to solve them, and try to face the anomalies and to overcome it. Okay, so these are the main tasks that I have to fulfill during the year, but I would like to give a little bit of insight of which are the main activities that we do for simulation, which is something I guess is very interesting for a student. So let's start with the first one. This is crankshaft dynamics activities that we usually do. And basically we try to compute how the vibration of the crankshaft is behaving during the normal life cycle of an engine. So we start with a crank train geometry, with the crankshaft geometry, and we do assembly a complete multi-body model, flexible one of the crankshaft and the whole engine. With this particular model, we can obtain several meaningful information. For example, we can retrieve stress on the crankshaft, we can obtain torsional vibration, and we can obtain also loads on journal bearing. The question is why this information is so important for us. So for example, stress on the crankshaft give us information how much the engine is strength is reliable for its life cycle, while crankshaft torsional vibration give us information of the dynamic torques that go to the elements connected to the crankshaft, for example, to the flywheel and to the viscous damper. And finally, also, we do have the load on the journal bearing. This is very important because give us an information instead of which are the loads that go to engine block to verify the engine block with our colleagues of structural analysis. Then I would like to switch to the next activity that we do, which is engine vibration, the wall assembly. So we take care in this situation of a model which is very similar to the previous one, but it contains all the engine block, taking also in account the gearbox. We do assembly a full multi-body model, flexible one, also in this case. And with this model, we can do several analyses. For example, model analysis, forced analysis. So let's start with the model analysis. With this particular topic and activity, we take care of eigenfrequency and eigenvectors. So we can see how the engine will vibrate during its life. And we can have a feeling of if the engine is behaving like we expect or no. Then with the forced analysis on the same model, we can obtain instead the loads that the engine block is giving to the chassis. And this is very, very important, not for maybe a structural point of view, but more for an MVH point of view. So concerning the vibration that the engine is transmitted through the bushing to the driver, to his steering wheel, to his seat. So it's a very, very important topic. Also, what is interesting for us is that if we have some doubts on the engine, so there are particularly zone or place of the engine that we know that can be critical. For example, the flange between gearbox and engine, we can compute stress recovery on them. And we can evaluate if the stress is below what is the fatigue limit, and we are okay and satisfied with that solution. I want to switch to the next slide now. Okay, this is valve train dynamics. And it's also an activity that I take care of a lot. It's very important for us because defining the valve train defines the performance on the engine. So we do take care, put a lot of care in it because here we can do the horsepower of the engine. And it's pretty complicated, the procedure to develop the profile of the cams and of the valves. So we basically have this chart to explain a little bit how it's working now. First of all, we do a first rough design of the cam profile to obtain our performance that we want as target. So we do a first design with in mind only performance. We do calculate with a performance simulation tool, and we do verify that our performance meets or not our target. If the performance do not meet our target, we redefine the design. Otherwise, we go to the next step. The next step is to, let me say, do a more precise design of the cam profile, but also taking account other components, like, for example, finger follower. We do a precise design of all these components, and then we do a dynamic simulation of the valve train. So we take in account the vibration of the system, and we try to verify if this vibration is under control, is under our target, to be sure that the reliability of our system is okay and it's good. If everything passes our targets, then the design is concluded and we are satisfied with that. Otherwise, we go back on the board, we design a new profile and so on. Okay, this is pretty much for valve train dynamics. I would like to introduce you the last activities that we take care of, which is the distribution dynamics. So for example, we have our engine. We want to carry the motion to our camshaft. How we do it? Well, there are several options, of course. For our engine, we usually choose chain distribution. But if we want to have a reliable chain distribution, we have to check it in simulation, of course. And the first thing that we do is creating a 2D model of our chain. And we do use, in this particular model, a lumped parameter approach to build up the blocks. And I guess this is an approach that also you use to study during university. Then when the model is completely assembled, we basically do some maneuver. We do analyze, for example, full open throttle of the engine for the whole range span of the engine. And we take care about the loads and the tension on the chain. And in particular, we want to verify that the chain, the maximum tension on the chain is below the fatigue limit. So we are sure that during the life cycle of the engine, we are not expecting any breaking down. Also, we want to ensure that the minimum tension of the chain is above 0. So in this case, we can control the motion of the chain. We do not have any particular uncontrolled motion of the chain. Okay, so this pretty much sums up what is my experience, what is my activities that I'm following during the year. I would like also to introduce you what is, in my opinion, essere Ferrari, what is starting working in Ferrari, what are the first days. And in this slide, let's start with induction day. This is the very first thing that you face when you enter in Ferrari. During induction day, basically you, with your new colleagues, going inside a particular room on Ferrari, and they try to explain you what are the different departments in Ferrari, what you are supposed to do, what each department is doing. And it's really interesting because they also make you do a tour of the Maranello site to see all the departments in phase. And this is pretty important as first experience, at least in my opinion, because give you a sort of knowledge, first knowledge, what you are supposed to do, to who you have to speak to obtain that particular information. Also, you know the position of each engine block, of each buildings. And so it's really important. It's something that I really appreciated. Another thing that you really understand during the first day in Ferrari is, well, the Maranello site is really big, but basically it's a lot of functional, a lot of application under the same roof. So you can find in the Maranello site R&D department, design department, foundry, assembly, and so on. And it's pretty interesting to see. Not a lot of company can offer you all this diversity under the same roof. So, for example, if you start thinking about the design for some component because you are working in the design department, you can see realized by your colleagues just a few weeks later, and you can have it on your desk just a few weeks later. And it's pretty interesting, and it's pretty exciting in my opinion. Another thing that is instead peculiar for at least, is the learning curve that you face in Ferrari. So it's pretty steep. When you first approach Ferrari, you can see that you have to learn a lot of things pretty fast, and the tasks that they give you are pretty difficult, pretty hard. Maybe you do not have all the skills to fulfill them, but don't see this as a negative thing, instead as a positive thing, because this company gives you the possibility to learn a lot, to learn very fast, to speak with a lot of people, to gain this expertise that you need, and in the end, to become a better engineer in a few months. So I want to see that a really positive thing that Ferrari offers you. For example, once my professor told you, when a company does not teach you anything more, it's not a big time. No, it's not a great time. Well, in this particular company, you always face new problems, and it's pretty exciting to have it and to learn new stuff day by day. And the last thing that I want to underline, that it's a skill that is required to work in Ferrari, which is teamworking. So you cannot think to fulfill any of the activities, simulation, design, whatever you want, without speaking with your colleagues, without creating a good working relationship with them. And this is important because you need to exchange data with different departments to obtain and to do the right simulation, to do the right design. Think about a car. A car is made of millions of components. You cannot be expert of everything, of course. I'm not expert of everything. I need to rely on the expertise of my colleagues and have a good relationship with them to, at the end, build the best product forever. Remember, Ferrari must be the best product forever, and we have to work with them and to obtain this really challenging task. So this pretty much sums up my experience. I want to end up with the words of Enzo Ferrari. So the best Ferrari has yet to be built. And this means that it's particularly important for me, means that, of course, we are proud of our car, but each time, each new project, we try to make something better. And this should be a common aim that everyone in Ferrari should have, and in the end, it has. So thank you very much. I guess it's the end for my part, and we can start with the question and answer session.
Many thanks. I got, first of all, thank you and grazie, Francesca and Gianluca, for your testimonials. It's fantastic. I'm learning every single time when I'm working with you, which is cool. And to get the insights, of course, what is the working experience on a day-to-day basis? no day is repetitive. It's always quite difficult to challenge in the morning and find solutions with the colleagues, with the team in the afternoon. As Francesca said, it's so important to work as a team together. You expect the unexpected in order to deliver the beautiful products that come out from the production line. And likewise with Gianluca, it's important that the next one, of course, is going to be the next project, the next car, next working together is going to be even better, with the quality of having worked together, shared and improved in the meantime. And that is also was written on the Fiorano test track in Maranello, is always looking into the future, looking ahead, because we are responsible to develop our future and to make that happen. Now, we saw a few questions zooming by in the meantime, and we're very happy to be able to respond with this the Q&A with you guys. So yes, do we have internships in Ferrari? The answer, of course, yes, it is. We have a number of opportunities across the year. So there's no season for internships in Ferrari. It is from January until December. It is from Monday to Friday. It really depends on the quality of the profile that you have on one side, and of course, where our line managers, the Francescas, the Gianlucas of this world, have a specific project where they're looking for your knowledge, your brain, and your ability to learn as a result. Okay, internships really are learning experiences. It's an opportunity to develop new skills on top, to be tested professionally, to be accompanied by the line managers in order to have, at the end of the 6 months internships, because the period ideally is for a minimum of 6 months, where you have a stronger number of skills and competencies at the end. And that allows us then to pre-qualify you as a potential employee into the future. It doesn't mean that all the employees only come through internships, but some of the best people coming through the internships have the opportunity to grow across the different steps in their career. So the answer very shortly is yes, we do opportunities. We give opportunities for internships across different disciplines, in engineering, in manufacturing, in quality, but also in other non-engineering disciplines, in marketing and sales, in finance, in human resources. I saw a question on communications, for example. Okay, I will get back to it in just a moment. In terms of mechanical engineering requirements was a question coming by. We're looking for a very good background from an academic point of view. We're looking ideally for your 110 first, upper second class results from an academic point of view, but not only academics, okay? We are looking for a rounded experience that includes academics, which includes your specialization that you have gained at university. It includes some experience at internships or projects that you have been able to contribute to and deliver with results in perhaps a demanding environment, because it shows that you are at a professional level to deliver on time, on track, in a complex world. Perhaps to have added some experience outside your country of origin, and it means working in a multicultural environment. You remember in the presentation earlier that we have 49 different nationalities working in Ferrari. And in order to best integrate with all of them, be you Italian, Dutch in my case, or any of the other 49 nationalities that we have, it's important to integrate. So having had some experience yourself as an applicant to Ferrari, of having spent some time outside your country of origin, anywhere around the world, it may be traveling, but even better, of course, if you hand that professionally through an internship or a project, an exchange, an Erasmus or others, that really adds to your skill set, and that adds, of course, to your opportunity to be selected for an internship. And last but not least, even more so if you're looking for opportunities in Formula One and the Gestione Sportiva. I know that one of the people were looking for that. It's great if you also have a background of having the racing, that maybe in Formula Student, Formula Sci, it may be in the Shell Eco Marathon or other type of competitions, which are fantastic simulations of real reputation competitions, so racing competitions. Having managed on track where the lead time, the time to market for a change of products, a change of projects, a change of components you know, the cars are changed every 2 weeks in a typical racing season in Formula One. So the time to market is very, very different. And we're looking for people that have got some experience also in a racing on-track environment. Expect the unexpected. It's something that is realistic. I believe that Francesca was referring to that earlier. It is typical also in the racing environment. And have you seen what's happening on the track? That really helps you to prepare for that. Hopefully that answers with regards to the interest of Formula Student, Formula Sci. But don't worry if you don't have that. I know there's some very good Formula Student teams in the Emilia-Romagna and Motor Valley area. But having done that also with other companies, with demanding multinational employers, engineering excellence companies, that allows you a good passport in order to apply to Ferrari. We love a letter of motivation because it shows even more about the personality of the individual and not only the CV. And if you're completing your CV, as much as possible, give your stats. Okay, where have you completed, what you have completed, and what kind of results you have brought home, because that allows you to get identified relatively quickly in the approximately 45,000 CVs that Ferrari receives every year. Okay, mechanical engineering in which areas? Across, you know, we have approximately 14,000 components that make up one particular car, and we are looking for the best engineers and technicians to work across these different cars. And that means we're looking for people from lots of different disciplines. It may be mechanical engineering, it may be electric engineering and electronics, it may be working on chassis, on body, on design, on braking systems, and so forth. So any kind of areas that you have been working with, perhaps with your professor or with your previous internship experiences, allows us to evaluate in a qualitative kind of way and on merit that you are an interesting candidate to consider for Ferrari. I saw another question with regards to your background, Gianluca. Okay, of course you came with a PhD. That allows even more, or it requires even more brain cells and a few years on top. Is that necessary? With all due respect, no. It is an advantage to have a PhD, but only because you as an individual bring certain skills and personalization, specifics on top, but it's not a must-have. So we don't have a prerequisite for PhDs. We love PhDs, good PhDs, when we meet them. But we love them even more when they have the right kind of aptitudes and attitude to work as a team, to work in a context which is a competition kind of a context, which is a context of innovation, and that may be doing at an engineering master level or PhD level. Okay, so we do not discriminate on PhDs or non-PhDs. However, if you are with the background such as Francesca or Gianluca, all the better, because the diversity of your different backgrounds allows us to evaluate you in certain areas of the company. As we say for Ferrari, there are different Ferraris for different Ferraristi, different cars for different of our customers, and at the same time we have different Ferrari staff for different areas. So we don't have a preconceived area that you could be working in, or a preconceived background that you need to come from. We evaluate you individually in terms of your skills, your aptitude, and the ability to fit as a team and work together with Ferrari. Coming back to the question with regards to communications, okay, is it possible to work with a background having studied in communications? The answer is yes, but perhaps not as often and not as regularly, knowing that 80% of all the activities that Ferrari is working on is, of course, on engineering, on mechanical areas and components of the car, be that for GT as well as for Formula One Gestione Sportiva. Making a switch from communications and working in an engineering environment is not impossible, but it depends really what you have done during your studies, your master studies, but also what you've done in your personal life, you know, across internships and traveling the world, that you bring the right skills and mindset to work in the engineering environment. We do offer opportunities in communications, but also in sales, in marketing, in finance, in human resources, in organization, etc. And we will evaluate that. But most of the opportunities, knowing that we are an engineering company with its reputation for excellence for engineering, most of the opportunities, of course, would be in the engineering environment. Okay? Let's see if you have any further questions that we can address for you today.
Okay, for example, I can answer about, there is a question, how can you manage when you have to handle pressure and you have some complicated situation to handle? For example, I can answer you what is my experience when you have some anomalies, some components that are showing some damage, or maybe there is a noise in the car that you want to fix it. Of course, pressure is really high. There is the responsible of the car that is coming to you, the responsible of the engine. You have to speak with technical director, but I can give you some suggestions how to handle this situation. First of all, don't panic at all. You have to think that this is a working environment and everyone is professional and try to help you to do that. What I make to solve this anomaly is to go in a meeting, a round table with all the expertise of that components. For example, design department, simulation department, of course, but also testing department and the responsible of car testing. So each one can give me information about how the components is made, how it's tested, what is the maneuver that damaged that component. And when we group all together all the information that lead to that point, we try to approach the problem with, for example, Nishikawa. So we make a plan of what could have been gone wrong, and for each of that situation, try to develop a plan to fix it. So it's really planning, it's really taking control of the situation. And when you do such a plan, usually very fast or pretty fast, you are able to fix the problem and let me say, to jump to the next challenge.
Yes, I also had that kind of unexpected events in my working period in vehicle dynamics group. Also for us, it's not simple to manage that situation. But my suggestion is you should use your brain. No? So think about the problem, try to find a solution, working together, and at the end we will have a solution. Because at the end we are engineering, we are working on the best factory of automotive in Italy, so in the world, let me say. So you will find the solution by working together and using your brain to solve the problem.
Super. I know that we're on the last 1 or 2 minutes specifically, so let's take a moment of thanks, not only for Francesca and Gianluca having shared with us the insights, and for Valeria in the background to have worked with us and prepared. So grazie a te, Valeria. But most importantly, for your time and attention to join us today. It's important to be able to share what it's like to work with a Ferrari organization, to work with the DNA and working with the passion and the pressure, the innovation, but also the tradition, the elements that we have shared at the very beginning of the presentation. We're delighted to follow up with you when you have some follow-up questions, be that in the course of today, the weekend, the motorsport weekend that you have in Motor Valley, or during the contacts that we have with the team here in Ferrari. So please reach out with any further questions. Absolutely delighted to have you with us today. Grazie mille, grazie alla squadra. Look forward to see you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, grazie a tutti. Bye bye.
Ciao, grazie.
Ciao.
Ciao.